Oh, it's a video. Well, how? There's the.
You're getting all kinds of traction with your 3,000 taps.
Oh, shooky ducky.
Happened today, Casey.
Mopping the floors when I'm listening.
Yeah,
Hey,
Hilda, this is
Pinky.
the first time that we've heard from Carmelo Anthony's parents since their 17-year-old son was accused of stabbing another student to death at a high school track meet in Frisco earlier this month. But before today's press conference could even get underway, a pretty uncomfortable moment when the victim's father showed up and then was
Oh, here it
escorted
goes.
out by
Yeah,
police.
Miss Lady, must be it.
As the media was setting up and getting into place for today's press conference at the Next Generation Action Network's offices, Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's dad, made a surprise appearance. He told me off camera he wanted to hear what was said and did not have plans to make a statement. Then, in another unexpected turn of events, Dallas police showed up and walked Mr. Metcalf out of the building. Minutes later, Carmelo Anthony's parents, Andrew Anthony and Kayla Hayes, came to the podium alongside event organizer Dominique Alexander. Alexander had this to say about it.
That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character. Was not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
It has been a little more than 2 weeks since police say Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest during a dispute over
You gotta
bleachers at
censor
a
over
track
that
meet.
part somehow.
Austin's twin says his brother died in his arms. Immediately, the case garnered national attention. Anthony's parents wanted to use Thursday's forum to dispel what they characterized as rumors and misinformation being spread about them on the internet.
Oh
My three
no,
younger children,
Pookie.
my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
They say, contrary to what's being put on social media, they have not yet accessed a single dime from the online fundraising campaign, which has yielded nearly $450,000 in contributions from the public.
The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
Through tears, Kayla Hayes spoke about the barrage of threats and harassment her family has endured.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she is fearful of what may happen to her.
Oh, no.
I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
The family advocates also questioned a recent decision made by the school district.
Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Carmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation.
Oh,
A spokesperson for Frisco ISD tells Fox 4 they can't comment on the specific case due to privacy laws. However, if a student is accused of a serious crime, the district looks at the case and decides whether they should be disciplined, adding if they've completed the requirements to graduate, they may do so early, but they're not allowed on district property. So the atmosphere at today's press conference was rather controlled. We were initially under the impression that Anthony's parents would be answering select questions from the press. That did not happen. Only prepared statements were made, and then it was all over. Steve?
All right, Casey, a couple questions. Was a murdered student's father...
Okay. We'll stop there because that word will get me in trouble. But yes, apparently the father came in and was some type of way towards Carmelo Anthony's family, which, let's keep it a buck. Their son is no longer on this earth. I'm sure they have big emotions, right? Both families have huge emotions. However, apparently what I was reading earlier this morning and last night preparing for this, apparently the carrying of a Is knife okay to say on here, Joe? But that's legal in
No.
Texas. What do I say?
I say pokey.
Okay, so apparently,
Yeah.
apparently carrying a pokey in Texas is legal.
It's legal, but not on school grounds.
Jury to consider manslaughter charge 2 hours ago. A jury is currently weighing the fate of Carmelo Anthony, and just before going into deliberations, Judge John Roach Jr. gave jurors another charge to consider: manslaughter. Anthony, a former student at Frisco Centennial High School, is accused in the April 2025 poking death of Metcalf, a student athlete at Frisco Memorial High School. Previously, the Collin County District Attorney charged Anthony with murder, requiring the state to prove that Anthony intentionally and knowingly caused the death of Austin Metcalf.
Which blows my mind because he warned him. He said, "Don't touch me. I dare you not to. You see what happens." That usually takes away the self-defense and makes it premeditated. That's why in castle laws and everything, when someone invades your home, or let me just use an example. When these crazies on the internet talk about like showing up people's houses, don't ever be like, "I'm a Second Amendment supporter, blah 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 blah." Don't say anything, because everything you say will be monitored if something happens. So if someone actually did show up at your house and you did invoke castle law, they are going to go through your history with that person and comb through everything you say. And if you mentioned that you were going to do something to them or you invited them in somehow, that self-defense is going to be taken down. So if, to be honest, I'm surprised that he's not getting first degree
Well, the other thing
premeditation.
is, just like Gremlin said, Texas is a whole different ballgame. Texas is almost like a
It's a whole
little
different
nation
country.
inside of the nation. They have a whole different set of laws, and the way they do shit is way different. I mean, not
Yeah.
way different as in like foreign different, but it's definitely,
That's why I
they
was
definitely do shit different.
surprised with yesterday's topic too, because that's another thing with castle laws is if they turn their back and flee and you hurt them like that, your self-defense goes out the window. So I want to know what in that trial was thrown in there
Well,
to
I was still reading, so
make
we
the
gotta
jury.
keep reading. It says,
No, I'm talking about yesterday's topic.
oh, yesterday's topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, South Carolina, see, this is the other thing. Just like, these are the things that I think people should keep open minds to, almost like the resilient circle jerk situation. Portland does things different. Texas
Yep.
does things different. South Carolina, clearly, even though Mr. Chow had previously unalived two other people, that wasn't brought into the court.
You want to know what's
So the
crazy is
pattern
there's
of
not even
behavior.
technically castle laws in Washington. If you unalive somebody in your home in a home intruder situation, you're going to jail and you're doing time.
Yes, Pinky, this is our Carmelo, the young man who poked another student at I think it was a
Yeah.
track meet or some shit. Yeah,
That part,
under
Miss
the tent
Lady.
in the track meet. My town doesn't have self-defense laws, but I always defend myself. I know that's right, Miss Lady. But the laws stand different, and so, like I said, even though Mr. Chow unalived two people, that wasn't brought into court for him. Whereas in my town, like, your entire background is what you fight if you catch a case. So I think we all need to keep that in mind when we're, looking at news stories and situations. He was saying that he was being bullied. It was these two twin boys. The story was he was being bullied. I don't know why my phone is tweaking and all these ads are coming up talking about if I want to keep reading, I've got to watch one of these suckers, and I'm not.
Ooh, don't do that.
No.
That's how your phone gets a Herbie.
Yeah, he was a twin. It's horrid. Like, it's awful. MonTeesMama is super sensitive to death. So nowhere in this am I going to be like, oh, this is okay. No, like, a young man lost his life, whether he was a bully or not. Like, I don't believe that the penalty for being a bully should be death.
Carmelo's guilty of sin. I think he is.
While the arguments unfolded, evidence was raised that apparently convinced Judge Roach that a lesser crime, namely manslaughter, may have occurred. Texas law gives the judge the power to allow the jury to consider multiple guilty or not guilty verdicts. Now the jury is left with multiple options as they weigh Anthony's sentence. In the case of murder, the jury must believe beyond all reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally or knowingly caused the death of another person, namely Austin Metcalf. If the jury cannot unanimously believe that, against all reasonable doubt, that they may consider a manslaughter charge. In the case of manslaughter, the jury must believe beyond all reasonable doubt that the defendant recklessly caused the death of another person, which is sounding more, aligned with what happened. Anthony was 17 at the time.
I don't know.
Which is considered an adult in Texas because the death did not meet qualifications to be charged as a capital murder, and because of Anthony's age, the death penalty and life in prison without parole were never an option in this case. You let me go on because no way when you decide to bully somebody you don't think of. I mean, that's the part. The bullies definitely should have been considering. I mean, I think everybody has to consider that for every action there's a reaction. And when you're out here pushing people's fucking buttons and you don't know what they're carrying with them, like not to give excuses. We're just.
It's like road rage incidents.
Right. We don't know what the Metcalfs had going on in their house that made them bullies. You know what I mean? For every action.
Sounds like the dad was kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm. And just like the news said, like anybody in that situation, like when I went to trial for Monty, the boy and his family, they knew better than to get. I mean, it's kind of like an unspoken ass rule. Your child unalived my child. No, you're not going to sit by me in this fucking courtroom. We're not going to be close to each other. If I get too close to you, I might end up back there somewhere type shit. Like nobody wants to.
It was still an unlawful amount of force. So yes, he's being bullied. Yes, Austin put his hands on him, but that was not a reasonable amount of force to use to be considered self-defense, and it was not reasonable.
Right there, listen. I wasn't in the tent, so I don't know what would be reasonable. I don't know what was happening in the tent and what you know what I mean? Both the brothers were in the tent, so
I seen something that spoke to me so much about this situation, and you're not going to believe where it came from. Someone quoted Friday. That scene where his dad catches him with the gun in his drawer, or the pew-pew in his drawer. My bad. And he's like, what in the hell? And he's like, I need it for protection. And he's like, protection? I would have never moved you guys into this neighborhood if I would have known whatever. Because he's like, I need to get some walk Smokey down the street. And he's like, does that make you feel like a man? He's like, I'm a man without it. And he says, no, put your dukes up. This is what makes you a man. That's the problem with you kids these days, is you think walking around with one of those makes you a man, and this is what back in the day we needed to be men. We fought, you win some, you lose some, but we live to fight another day.
This is supposedly watch trial has raised thorny questions about race. Anthony is black, Metcalf is white, as well as bullying, weapons on school grounds, and claims of self-defense.
There wasn't, as far as I know, it wasn't 5 on whatever. It was Metcalf and Anthony. But this is the problem, is that like this is why I like honestly didn't want to speak on this.
So we're gonna go. CNN posted yesterday. Trial is happening. Prosecutors said that the altercation began when Anthony took a seat under another school's tent. When Metcalf and others asked him to leave, Anthony taunted and provoked Metcalf, took out a knife, and stabbed him. This case has nothing to do with race. This case has nothing to do with self-defense, he said. This was an unprovoked, unjustified murder. It's senseless. Defense attorney Mike Howard countered that Anthony went to the tent to get out of the rain. He said Metcalf shoved Anthony first, and Anthony then used the knife to defend himself, acting out of fear. Jury selection took place last week, and notably, no black jurors were selected to serve. Get the fuck out of here.
So, wait. There was 3 black women supposed to be on this jury. I know more about this shit than I'm supposed to. There's 3 black women supposed to be on that jury. And when they were talking about Carmela, whatever, you hear audibly, "Aww," and then they were found that they could not be an unbiased jury, and they got removed from the jury.
Piggybacking off yesterday's conversation, the part about a jury trial is it's supposed to be a jury of your peers. And if there's not a black person present on that jury, that's not
There
his.
was, and they were found to be they couldn't be unbiased.
Okay, and true, they re-juror people all the time. They could have kept on with the selection until they found more something that resembled his peer group. Cameras are not allowed in court, and space for the public is limited. The prosecution rested its case late last week, and the defense rested its case on Monday. Anthony did not testify in his own defense. Closing arguments are expected on Tuesday. If convicted of murder, first-degree felony, Anthony faces 5 to 99 years in prison. However, he can argue to the jury he caused the death in sudden passion, which could lower the offense to a second-degree felony punishable by 2 to 20 years in prison. I was protecting myself, Anthony told me. He said he could not be unbiased because he's another black man. He understands that part.
So they found another jury.
Arriving date to a high school track meet on April 2nd, 2025. Anthony was a student at Frisco Centennial High School at the time, and Metcalf was a student at Frisco Memorial. According to a Frisco police arrest report, the fatal encounter happened under a Memorial High tent on bleachers. A witness told police that when Metcalf told Anthony to move out from under the tent, Anthony reached inside his bag, touch me and see what happens. Metcalf then put his hands on Anthony, who pulled out the... So, yeah, he put his hand inside the bag and said, touch me and see what happens.
That's where the premeditated comes in. Like I said,
nobody knows what was in the bag, so there's that part. He just put his hand in the bag. He could have just had his hand on a book and was going to smack the shit out of him with a book.
Doesn't matter. He warned because he knew what was in the bag. What they are going to say...
He said, put their hands on me and see what happens. And Buddy put his hands on him and he found out what happened, right?
If you're out in a court of law is considered premeditation.
Okay, let's take the court of law. If you're out at the grocery store, you get into a confrontation with a woman and she puts her hand inside her purse and says, put your hands on me and see what happens. You putting your hands on her? Are you going to poke the bear? You're going to see what happens?
And you will get found to, you can get hit with premeditated. This is again.
I'm not a punk by any means, but if I'm out at the grocery store and a bitch puts her hand inside her purse and about, bitch, put your hands on me and see what happens, I am walking the fuck away. Bitch, you won. You don't put your hands in your purse, talking about see what happens, you win. You win. But premeditation is a thought before. So, first of all, by the time that this instance is happening in the bleachers, I would gather it would be logical, chat, when you say that both boys were under duress, right?
What was he doing in there in the first place?
He was at a fucking track meet and it started raining and he went under the tent.
Why didn't he go under his class's tent? If he has a history of being bullied by this boy, why didn't he go to a different tent?
Anthony then advised others that he had the alleged suspect. I'm not alleged. I did it, Anthony said, according to the report.
It wasn't 5-on-1. That's been established.
At a trial, prosecutors called 21 witnesses, including coaches, track athletes, and police officers, and played for the jury surveillance video of the incident. The video appears to show one person pushing another, but the images are from a distance and unclear. Several teenage athletes testified about the moments leading up to the poking, saying Anthony refused to leave the tent and provoked Metcalf to make him leave. Okay, let's stop there. Yes. Are you going to send it to me in TikTok, Pink Tea? I can absolutely. But let's start at this part. Let's just read. Several teenager athletes testified and said that moments leading up to the poking, Anthony refused to leave a tent and provoked Metcalf to make him leave. Metcalf wasn't responsible for making... Yeah, send it to me on TikTok and I can play it. Metcalf wasn't responsible to make him leave the tent. If Carmelo wasn't supposed to be in that tent and there's some type of rules to what tent you can be under. Listen, I haven't ran track and field since 20 plus fucking years ago. If it started raining, I was going to get under whatever tent I was closest to, right? I don't think there was, even I go to other games, like you can sit wherever the fuck you want to sit. I can sit with the other team if I want to. If I've got family over there and I'm there to see Treasure cheer, but I've got family playing on the opposing team, I can sit with the East Side people or whatever, right? Like, it doesn't matter where I sit. And it's not on another student to redirect me. It would be on, staff, right? So if Anthony didn't belong in that tent and Metcalf didn't want him there, it was on Metcalf then to go tell his coach, like, oh, we've got this kid over here, we need to get him out. It was never on Metcalf to then be responsible for making him leave, in my opinion, the way that was working.
Absolutely. But it still
Let's
warrant him getting stabbed.
No, Pope, stop it. We got to be careful. You're going to get me in trouble today.
Sorry, my bad.
Let's get what Pink Tea sent and get that on. Let's get that on the screen. Okay. Let me open my shiznit. Well, let me get this up first because I don't want pause. Okay. Pause. And then wait. Stop. Okay. Hold on, Pink Tea. I'm gonna get it together, baby. You know MonTeesMama don't know what the hell I'm doing over here most of the time. Okay. Whoa.
That's gross.
This was posted a week ago. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know that's right. And folded it up because you don't even need to see this shit. That is fucking shameful as fuck. Thank you for that. Yes, this is America. This is America. And I'm sorry, but MonTeesMama is the one who snatched it and crumpled it. And I wouldn't have gave it back to him. Because for what? For what? Well, I'm going to give it back to you.
No, I think it was a social... I think what you were seeing was a social experiment. I think he knew, but they were waiting to see how long it would take for someone to take it off.
It was definitely a social experiment. And he knew. This was definitely a social experiment. I get it. I'll play it again, Katarina.
Yeah. Because what she was handing to the other person was the paper, and they were giving her something as a reward for taking it off.
But look, okay, so we're gonna watch it again. She crumples it up, and then he comes running up to her to get it, but she doesn't know it's a social experiment.
I love you guys, but we're getting off topic.
My bad. I wanted to repost it. My dumbass. Sorry.
It's not. This has nothing to do with what happened to Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony.
This is just showing what
that race. Yes, I know racism is alive and well in America. We know this.
This is just an obvious, like, it's very much obvious. How it goes hand in hand with the topic and why Pink Tea sent it to me was just like the discussion where that started, and she said, can I send you a video? was the fact that we know this young man, the jury that has been selected is all white. And we also know the jury selection
But
can go.
why though? Because the black people that were on the jury had told them and said that I cannot be unbiased
Yeah, because
in
what,
this
black folks got
situation.
more honesty? Because the white folks could have said they can't be unbiased either. They just hid their hand. And we've seen that a lot, because I'm sure there was a lot of white jurors that were going to give an unbiased, like they're unbiased, they're just not showing their hand. The black folks that walked in there and said, hey, I'm biased to this shit, I'm not going
And
to be a
that's
good juror,
unfortunate.
they were honest.
But at the end of the day, that is why there's no black people on there, because they said that I cannot look at this
Pause.
unbiased.
Why there's no black people on there is because they didn't force jury selection further to find black folks that could sit there unbiased, because there are some that would be able to hold their cool, right? And to hide their hand too. Just the ones that they
Remember
have
that both sides
get
get to pick the jury, though. Both sides get to pick the jury.
Actually, both sides get to bring jurors. They can juror select for weeks if they had to, because both sides get to decide. You're right, they get to choose. So like they get to continue. But once jury selection is made, and once those black folks said, hey, we can't be unbiased, then they scramble, and there's always things. I get it. But my point is that man is supposed to be getting a trial by a jury of his peers. We discussed this yesterday. First of all, I don't think his peers are older folks. I think that his peers should be like as close to 18 as they can get them, because you have to be 18 to serve on a jury, right? You have to be old enough to vote. You have to be old enough to serve on a jury. So this boy is 17 years old. His jury should be 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, not 57, 60-year-old women, men, whoever. It's a jury of your peers. These peers also should come from that area, maybe graduates, alumni of both schools. That would be fair, right? Because look, in my town, we've got East-West rivalry. So thinking about this shit, if this is the way it's going, like nothing like that's happened in a track meet here. We've had other shit happen, but yeah, like East Side, West Side kids, like there's big rivalry, big beef. And some of the kids, if they get caught on the west side, they're going to get their ass beat. Vice versa on the east side. Like, they've got that shit going on all the time. So is that something that's going on out there in Frisco, that the Memorial High had all this beef with the other high or whatever? I don't know.
So from what I understand, is the beef was with the two kids. Now, I don't know what the beef was. Apparently there was history there, a broken phone, something like that.
I heard it was an ex-girlfriend or some shit back when this all first happened.
I've heard that too. And this is why it's like this one was hard for me, because when it first came out, there was a lot of misinformation going around, like that no one knew which way was up. There's people trying to spin it and make it look like it was.
Not ever am I saying,
like you said, 5 people on one.
I mean, for the fact of the matter is that boy was a twin. He was in the presence of his twin brother. So no matter what, I mean, do you not know twin activity? Twins are a 2-on-1 every time. If you get into beef with a twin, you are fucking fighting their twin. I mean, chat, is that pretty much fair across the scope? I know out here in my suburbs, if you get into beef with the twin, you getting into it with the other twin. Twins ride together. That's a 2-on-1 fight every time. Every time.
And while I believe that, unfortunately, we got to go with the facts. And that is what is in the trial, is that it was Austin and Carmelo, 1-on-1. There was not 5 people on this boy.
And his life was in danger, right? This is his argument, is his life was in danger, and he protected himself.
So with any self-defense law, again,
currently underway, FYI, for this. We could live tune into the deliberations being streamed, like, as we speak on this. That's what's happening right now. Prosecutors are calling it murder, and defense attorneys are saying it was self-defense. This is one of those controversial,
because with self-defense, it has to be a certain amount of force. You have to use a reasonable amount of force.
Well, I don't know. Is that true? Because Mr. Chow unalived somebody with a reasonable amount of force, and he got self-defense. If Mr. Chow could get self-defense yesterday, Carmelo Anthony should be able to get self-defense today.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think that he was guilty, and I think it was premeditated. I think he went in that tent because he was bullied. I think that he instigated some shit and then warned Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. He went in there intending to do that. Why did he have that knife on him in the first place?
To carry them.
Everybody
can carry them.
Not on school grounds.
I mean, but
they
why
said
not
that
though?
if you were to,
I'm getting like so irritated.
they said if you were to search
Because
all
why
the kids
not
at the
though?
high
Because
school,
how
they
will we
all
know
got
these
pokies
kids be
on
getting
them.
bullied and all kinds of stuff? So why not though? Why not? And then what would
So if
presume you
my
but like
daughter
what
is
would
getting bullied
presume
at
you to
school, she
think
should
like
be
he
allowed to
went
carry
in
a
there
knife on
to
school grounds.
antagonize them though? How do you not know if they were bullying him, why would he go in there?
That's just my theory.
That's a poor piss of a theory because if somebody's getting bullied, why would someone go into where the
No, it's
bullies
just an
are?
opposing theory.
So you're thinking that your thought true is that he was getting bullied, so he went to get
Because that doesn't
His
make
redemption.
lick back.
sense. But that doesn't make sense because
It doesn't make sense just because
no,
it doesn't fit with your narrative.
no, I don't have a narrative. It doesn't make sense. Like I've been bullied before, so I never went to where my bullies were. Now, did bullies come and find me? Absolutely. So I'm just that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Someone to go find their bully to be under a tent and then antagonize them and then provoke him when he was being antagonized the whole time. So again, that's not sitting with me. Oh my
It's also
god.
not sitting with me that everyone's like, it was 5 people on one. It wasn't 5
It
people on one.
it pretty much was if he was getting bullied. And just because the five
By
people didn't and
Metcalf.
just because the five people didn't initiate it, they were around it and was a bystander to it. Like what do you mean?
They were a bystander to it, so that makes it
But
that
they
there was
still that
5
means
people
they
jumping
enabled
him.
it. They enabled it.
But they weren't putting their hands on him.
It
So
doesn't
that
matter.
takes
They
the
enabled
threat of
it.
5 people away from him.
It doesn't matter. They enabled it.
It does
They
matter because
But
that's
let's
the
just
amount of
talk about it.
force
Like,
that was on
if
him.
one person is trying to put their hands on me and I'm in a position to stop that by whatever means, whether I'm
Thank
concealing
you,
and
Ray.
carrying and I decide to pew pew somebody, or I'm not a pokey person, you know, like I a knife is getting you too close to me. So that's just not my thing. But if somebody is threatening me and I decide that I'm in fear of my life to up that thing and do some damage, like that's what that's for. It's for my protection, right? Nobody's allowed to just go
Also,
through
I'm
life
in fear of my
intimidating.
life. They weren't going to kill him. He might have gotten
You
his
didn't
ass
know
whooped.
that?
Okay, he's got something to say.
Listen,
Again,
Like,
that
I gotta
whole
get
thing
off.
that I said in the beginning.
What do
That's
you
what
got
I
to
said in the
say? You got to get
beginning.
off, Des?
Yeah, my kids are still asleep. I'm not trying to wake them up.
Uh,
Yes, Eli, your dad's in the shower.
Um,
Just text
you
him.
win some, you lose some, you live to fight another day.
that's
Okay,
not how
but
that.
This boy
so
used a
true.
weapon
I
and
get
took
what
this
you're
boy's
saying
life.
about the weapon, but at the end of the day, what color was Carmelo Anthony and what color was the white or the boy?
Take race out of it. Why does it always have to be about
Cause it
race?
Oh my
is.
god! If we're gonna
It's
bye,
not.
I gotta go.
sir, you had a
No, the
white.
fuck
Had
we're
it
not doing
been,
that.
had Carmelo Anthony been
You guys
white,
want to make it about race every time.
it had Carmelo Anthony had been white and
He would have been
Metcalf,
prosecuted the same way.
I
There
mean,
wouldn't be any
listen,
defense.
maybe prosecuted the same way to a certain degree because the law is going to be the law regardless. But the outrage, nobody would have been upset if a white boy went and stabbed a black boy in a tent at a fucking track infield.
Yes, they would have. Are you joking me?
Black folks would have been upset, but it wouldn't have been the outrage that this is causing. Like it, I'm just telling you, true. It doesn't work that way.
It
It's
does. It does,
unfortunate that
actually.
you don't see it, but it doesn't work that way.
And it's unfortunate that everyone in this chat is thinking with their emotions. I'm just looking with the facts, and I'm taking the race out of it, because if it had
The
been
fact
a
of the matter is
white
you
boy
can't
that had
take the
stabbed
race
him,
out of
But
it.
that's your problem. You're not understanding. The problem is all
oh,
these
I
boys.
understand fully.
Okay, but you're not, because you're saying like take a race out of it. But if we take race out of it, this boy would not be taking a murder charge. He would have got something else.
Yes, he would have.
No, he would not.
He
If he was white,
absolutely would
true. No,
have.
he would have. True. I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just saying that it was a small town in
How
fucking
Rick Chow
Texas,
got
and
off with
it was a white
self-defense.
school.
Rick Chow got off with
And
self-defense
Rich
by
Chow was
gunning the boy
Asian.
down.
Exactly.
And that's the point, and that's the outrage of the black community, is that their lives are not, whether Asian, white, like, how much love do you think the black community is feeling from all of the other cultures that live on this fucking rock with them? Whether it's the Asian people chasing them out the fucking store 100 yards to pew pew in the back, and
And
that's
I
considered
agreed with you
self-defense.
guys that that was not self-defense. His back was turned and he was fleeing and he was being chased. That's not self-defense.
I think the bigger
Again, we
underlying
don't
issue
know
is
what
that
actually was going on with the whole Carmela Anthony. Just say, like, yeah, he was getting bullied.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody does.
Nobody was gonna believe a black kid getting bullied by a white kid. You just gotta keep thinking it like that. That's how it happens. That's how the world is. That's how it's always gonna be. There's no different. If he was white, this whole case would be so different.
You don't think that people would believe that a black kid is getting bullied by a white kid?
No,
Do you know
because
how it is for black
it would have
people in
changed a
Texas?
long time
True,
ago.
I'm just
True,
gonna
that's
put it
what I'm
out there
trying to
like
tell
this.
you.
If a white kid gets bullied, I mean, let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. If a white
Nope,
kid gets
not going
bullied,
to. Not
they go
touching
a
that,
certain
because that is
direction
a
with
clear
that shit.
case.
They do not.
That
No, that's
boy
why
actually would have died if he had not used that weapon.
that boy had
Carmelo
no business
Anthony,
the fuck being out there at all. Where the fuck were his parents? While we're talking
his
about parenting
dad
and
was out
whatever.
there. His
And
dad
that's why
lived
his
out
dad
there.
and him should both be sitting behind fucking bars. His dad is
Oh, I don't
raising him
agree
to
at
be a
all.
terrorist.
Yeah, apples and oranges, Gremlin. I know.
When your dad takes
I'll
you
be
to
the one to
state
say it.
line with
Those
any
men were going
parent,
to unalive him.
his dad shouldn't have had him over there being a part of some political fucking rally with fucking pew pews.
So
What are they
first of
doing?
all, the Rosen whatever. If we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there. I'm gonna break it down for you. He wasn't even instigating. He was there for medic training for the protest.
So he had
Rosenbaum then
pew pews that trained to
instigated
be a
some
medic?
stuff because he put out a dumpster fire that Rosenbaum started. This is all documented on video. He put out a dumpster fire that whatever the first dude started, and the dude got mad and started chasing him with a brick or something.
This is why
That's the only part I'm fuzzy
getting
on.
out of the box, because this is what I'm talking about. I don't care who you are as a person. Like, this is happening all around the world. People don't ever want to believe it's a race thing. It's always going to be a race thing. Black people, we always
I don't like the
get,
victim mentality of it's always about race. It's not about
because
race.
it is always about race. True.
Whoa.
So I'm getting out of this box because I don't know what you're talking about or what you're on this morning, or I just woke up and I need to take a breath back
No,
from this
you
whole
guys are
situation.
mad because I don't
No,
agree.
you're mad
You
because you
guys are
don't know the
mad
black
because I
culture
don't
all the way
agree.
through. Read on black culture and then come back to
I
me.
understand fully.
No, you fucking don't,
I
True.
understand
Goodbye.
black culture
Goodbye, True.
fully.
No, you don't.
Okay, bye. And that proves another
Have
point.
fucking mercy.
That proves another point. You know what I'm talking
I
about,
mean,
MonTeesMama. I've been saying it the whole time.
what proves a point is that you just sat here and said you're tired of the victim mentality. And that right there speaks volumes as far as how much you truly understand
I'm
about.
just tired of every time, just because one of the people in there happens to be black, that it's automatically a race thing. That
You're
is what I
black,
meant.
True. You're black.
I know. I'm fully aware that I'm black. I know that you guys think you have to remind me. I'm not just black, I'm mixed race. I deal with
No,
racism
honestly,
and
get that the
colorism.
fuck out your head. Everybody running around here talking about mixed race. There's no mixed race. The way this government and this foul ass fucking racist fucking planet we sit on, that you got to drop a black in you, bitch, you're black. You don't get to be mixed race. You are a black woman. And whoever taught you mixed race and made you think that the white in you made you
100
better
no.
than somebody fucked your head
Okay,
up.
pause. Because I am a black woman and you're absolutely right. But you know what side of it? You know what side of it points out that I'm not black enough? Yeah.
Whatever points, whatever, you are a black woman. Whether you have been raised black cultured, whether you lean more towards white culture, whatever the case may fucking be, it's never gonna erase the fact that you're still a black fucking woman.
What I meant by saying that I am mixed race is that I also have to deal with prejudice from the black community as well.
Now
I
listen, we
have
can
to
have,
deal with
we're gonna, you know
colorism.
what? Topic discussion. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about our black women who have white in them and the struggles that they go through, because the mixed race people do have a struggle of fitting in an environment. Sometimes they're not accepted by the blacks because they're not black enough. They're not accepted by the whites because they're not white enough. That struggle is fucking real, true. But that struggle isn't this struggle.
Absolutely.
Love you down super bad.
But what
when
I'm
you said
bringing
you were
up,
tired of
and
the
I'm just
victim
going to call it
mentality,
out.
I'm sure every black person in our chat, fucking ice water ran over their whole fucking body. That was gross. It's not a victim mentality. Black folks have been systematically fucking held down. And yes, Carmelo Anthony he can't be bullied. He's black. He's a thug. He can
Oh
defend
my God,
himself.
okay.
Nobody can bully him. They're not giving him that bully. When a white kid's bullied, oh my God, he was bullied. Oh my God. I mean, we have white kids that go shoot up schools and he was bullied. And they buy him a fucking Burger King cheeseburger on his way to jail. That really fucking happened. That boy shot up a church and they took him through McDonald's before they took him to fucking the jail. That really happened.
And I condemned that fully.
So when that's still really happening, it's not a victim mentality. It's a very obvious, the system is very much designed against black folks, period. That's just the way it works. It has always been, when the government was written, black folks were fucking property, and so were women. And let's also speak on the fact that they hated black folks so much they were hanging them from fucking trees, but they gave black men the right to vote before they gave women the right to vote. So they hate us more than they hate black folks. Keep that in mind. Facts. Black women. Do you know you can go get a job as a white woman and a black woman automatically gets paid less than you do? And they say that's not true, but it absolutely fucking is. And Hispanic women get paid even less than black women. Those are facts.
You know what's also facts? Is I am a black woman and I know exactly what I'm talking about. What I get tired of is people telling me, you don't know the culture, you don't know what you're talking about. They're telling me that I am not black enough without saying it out loud. Just like I just said.
You just sat here and said, I'm tired of the victim mentality. You kind of.
Yes, and I explained what I meant by that. I'm sorry it came off as wrong. I am really tired in a lot of these court cases.
Liza said Hispanic women here, the reason we get paid less is a demographic. And then,
I'm not denying any of that. But what I'm saying is that there is so many people trying to make this about race.
True. The problem
and you have to take race out of it.
So much stuff that's due to race, though. You can't take race out of it when you're going to make all the black people white. How are you supposed to take race out of it? You're going to make all the brown people white? Because that's the only way to take race out of it. The only way to take race out of it is to remove the race. And there's no way to remove the race. This is what it is. This is what we live into. We can't take race out of it because race clearly exists.
What I'm saying is that Carmelo Anthony is not on trial because he's black. He's not. And that's just the fact of it.
I mean,
and I know that people don't like that and they won't accept that.
I think everybody.
But that's what people are making it out to be.
He's not on trial just because he's black.
If it had been a white person, it wouldn't be the same outcome. Yes, it would have.
No,
it absolutely would have.
That is your issue. Because if it was the other way around, he would have said it was self-defense and he would have either got acquitted or got a lesser fucking charge. I don't know how you're not seeing this. It's pissing me the fuck off that you're not seeing it the way that everybody else is seeing it.
Because I have a
Us
different
being
opinion, and I'm
friends
always
because
going
you're
to have a
not
different
seeing it,
opinion.
true. Because you're not seeing it. You're
I
not
have a
seeing
different
it. You
opinion. I
don't
have a
want to
different
see it.
point of view.
No, exactly. And we all
I
can have
don't.
different point of views, but what we are saying, if it was the shoe on the other fucking foot, it would have been way fucking different. So yeah, I put race in it because it's a true fucking thing. He is a black boy that stabbed a white kid and killed him. Now they're gonna put him underneath a fucking jail cell and never fucking come out. But if it was the other way around and he got self-defense, said it was self-defense and blah da 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 whoop de whoop whoop whoop, he would have either got off or got fucking community service, whatever the fuck he was gonna get.
What about
So
the
yes,
guy with
it
the
is
train
fucking
that's
race.
been to jail
And
for
I don't
13
understand how
times?
you don't see that it is race. When every time a black kid gets in trouble or something fucking happens, it's a race thing. Because they're like, well, why did
What
he?
about the black man that stabbed a white woman on a train? They're not putting him under the ground. He was arrested 13 times.
Different cases and different states, true.
But
We're
you
in
guys just brought up
Texas.
Kyle Rittenhouse. Apples and oranges, right?
I mean, Kyle, who's the dude who stabbed the woman on the train? Where'd that happen?
Here in the
In
United States.
Washington? What state?
Oh my god, it's too much. Anyways, that's all I came up. I think I'm done for today because this is way too much for no reason.
I just think, personally, I think that this just also, I mean, you guys, it's big emotions, right? It's a big topic. I think things like this also open up opportunities for us to see that you have to be directly
There's always going to be
impacted.
an opposing view.
I mean, absolutely. And when it comes to racism and this world and how it works, you have to be directly impacted by that in order to understand the severity. And a lot of people argue I'm a fucking Caucasus Mountain from the Caucasus Mountains, damn near see-through ass white woman, red hair and freckles. Who the fuck am I to speak on it? But the fact of the matter is that I raised a black man because a drop of black in him makes him a black man. And Monty was always under the scrutiny of being a black man. Now, granted, when he was a little boy raising little kids before they get a driver's license and the government looks at them and they're lawfully a black man, right? It was a little easier. But once my baby turned 16 and got behind I had to teach him what driving like black looked like and I had to come as a white woman. I know what it is. I know exactly what the fuck it is. And son, you keep your damn hands on that steering wheel. Don't touch shit. You hear me? Don't be another casualty of the bullshit that they're out here on, because you can't be a victim. As long as when they pull up his driver's license, it says black man, they don't give a fuck how light he is. It says black man. And the way this government works, for people who don't understand, because listen, MonTeesMama's just different. So the science that I was taught when I was a child, we're all human. That was our race. My 1977 ass was taught that I was part of the human race. And race wasn't even a question until like I started having children and what race are they? So yeah, my dumb ass put other and writes in human every time I get the opportunity for a race question, because fuck you. My race is not white. My race is not black. My race is fucking human. We are all humans, right? It wasn't until Monty went to junior high that his principal came to me and told me, like, no, you have to select one. I'm like, okay, well, what are my options? And I was going to make him Pacific Islander because that sounded kind of fucking fun, right? If we just get to fucking throw it in the air.
That's wild. I've never had to choose.
And she said, well, your babies aren't to high school level yet. Just wait till they are, because based on,
I have never had to
what's
choose. Me and
available.
Monty are almost the same age.
Well,
I'm a couple years older than him.
Going into high school, he absolutely had to make a choice. There's
Nope.
no mixed race option. There's black. There's 5 fucking options for race.
You can put both. You can put Caucasian and black.
Well, see,
if
again,
there's not a
we
mixed
live in
race
different
option.
places. Apparently, wherever you were at allowed you to do that. Illinois, absolutely fucking not. However, Illinois will not allow you now to give your children an X gender and let them decide when they get old enough. So there's that. But you have to pick black, white, Hispanic, Pacific
Listen, I'm not
Islander.
trying to get on Chu's head because Chu is a cool person. I'm just saying, yeah, this is a heavy topic. A lot of us, we all have different opinions.
Absolutely.
I'm not
And I don't think
saying
any less of you for thinking
everybody
differently.
has different opinions. I'm not here to judge people's opinions, but when you said victim, like that just was the
I'm
egg on
sorry that was I
the
misspoke.
the the tree for me. Okay, I think again, I saw somebody in the comments saying we all got taught different about our culture, who we are, what. So I take when I see my people, no offense, getting the harder hand or the rough end of it, it hits me harder.
Based on the
So
father. So
again,
my children are both black, just like True. Both your children are white. Their fathers are white. So you're not even raising black children. Not as far as government is concerned. Not as far as the
I'm
law
raising white
says.
passing children.
Your children are white. Their fathers are
My
white.
children are white passing.
Okay, darling. Based on the way the government works, whenever that comes, when Maverick gets his driver's license, we're gonna double back on this because it's gonna say W. It's gonna say Maverick is W.
It's always been mixed race with all of my kids. I've always put that down on
So
his
do
social
your
security
driver's
card, on
license
his birth
have M
certificate.
for mixed race? That's what it says. What does your driver's license say? Or you don't have a driver's license?
Let me go look. Oh, somebody's awake.
No, I'm saying we're all the human race, Liza. What I'm saying is that was my whole thing. There's no race. I went looking for the division. And when
Because
my children went to high school
I
and they
can
said I had
put
to pick
it
a race,
on
they said it's
my.
based on the father. That lawfully the child's race is based on the father if you have a mixed race child.
Well, if my son wasn't ripping my ID
They
out of
said
my
mixed race wasn't even an option until like 5 years ago. And I don't think on your driver's license or IDs, they give you the 5 races that they've picked for us, right? Like you have to pick one of those. You don't get other for your driver's license or state ID. You pick one.
There's not even one on my driver's license or ID.
I've been told my kids aren't black because their mom isn't. Well, that's crazy, Liza.
That would be like if I was born
It's
lighter
so.
skinned. Yep. Sex female, height 5'4", weight 154, eyes brown, END none. There is no race.
They don't put your race on your ID in Washington? That's dope.
Nope. Sure don't, but they ask you when you're filling out the paperwork, and I put the black African American and I put the white. You can do that. You can pick multiple, even on the electronic forms.
You just do a quick Google search. Race in mixed race individuals is determined by social perception and personal identity rather than strict biology because race is social construct rather than genetic fact. How a person is classified depends on evolving cultural norms, historical context, and how individuals choose to identify. Now, mind you, again, I was raised, well, race scientifically, we were human, and now race is just a social construct, just like Pluto's no longer a planet. But I digress. Key factors in determining race. Perception. How the world perceives you is one of the most powerful drivers of racial categorization. It's largely based on phenotype, observable physical traits, the skin color, hair texture, facial features. Historical rules. Historically, laws like the one drop rule mandated that anyone with a single ancestor of a minoritized race was automatically classified as that race. While these laws have been outlawed, remnants of those social categorizations still influence how mixed race people are perceived. So, again, this is probably a state by state thing because we have race on our IDs out here, on all of our IDs. And, well, absolutely, that came up the wage gap between race. . Legally, race for mixed race individuals is almost entirely determined by self-identification or parental reporting on official documents because the government recognizes that race is a social construct rather than a biological one. And when they started recognizing that, we'll never know, but whatever. There are no genetic or scientific tests to mandate racial categorization. But we're all part of the human race. The topic was Carmelo Anthony, and then we got off Carmelo Anthony because, well, we veered. Because True came with the argument that we have to take race out of this situation, that it's not about race. And my argument is you can't take race out of it. Like, you just can't. Just like the shit with Stephanie and the Resilient Jenkins. Like, Desiree was pinned the way she was pinned because she was a black woman, and this white woman spoke on her in ways and lied on her, said she was sitting on a damn park bench with a needle in her fucking arm, and the whole internet believed it. And that was before they even knew who Desiree was, but simply because she was a black woman. And they knew she was a black woman because Deshaun was completely black, and they knew that Andrew was the dad. They'd never even seen a lick of a picture of Desiree to know anything. They made those determinations based on what Stephanie told them and what they saw. So it's like you can't take race out of the equation when race is definitely a lot of the underlying issues and the hate and the bullshit that goes along with these things. That was my point. Now, I know he's not locked up for being black, but like at this point, driving while black is a fucking thing. Living while black is a fucking thing. Like, I don't know. I see the struggles that the people I love the most have to go through being black. I see how I've been treated. I mean, there was a time Lamont and I got pulled over. He's speeding to try to get me to school, and Monty's dad, and they pull us over, and the officer looks at me and asks me if I'm okay. Like, what the fuck? Like, was I okay to be with him or something because he was black and
My
I was white?
point is that unfortunately that has nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony. And I know that it is fucking irritating and it is infuriating when to get racially profiled. I know what that feels like. What I'm saying is that this is not related to that situation. I'm really taking the emotions out of it and just going by the facts. And that's all that I've been presenting.
Liza, the soft bigotry of low expectations is a subtle form of discrimination where, cloaked in sympathy, authorities or educators expect less from disadvantaged individuals or groups based on their background. Coined by speechwriter Michael Gerson and popularized by President George W. Bush in 2000. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of underachievement by replacing rigorous standards with patronizing leniency. George W. Bush, during a speech to NAACP to highlight an insidious form of bias in the American education system. Rather than overt discrimination like Jim Crow, it manifests as a condescending attitude that assumes certain people, often minorities or low-income students, are incapable of achieving the same levels of success as their more affluent peers. AKA when they think black and brown people can't do anything right because we're victims. For example, when they lower the standards when my child has already surpassed the original levels. This attitude does lasting harm to the marginalized groups it aims to protect, watering down curriculum, soft discipline, eliminating advanced tracks. It harms our own community's ability to excel.
Let's say this. All the movies that they still make back in the day, like only white water, only black water, like colored only bathrooms, colored only schools, like the looks you get now being adult is the same thing it was when we got the look back in the day. Just letting that flow around in the air. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know what we're cooking for Juneteenth. I might have to work.
It's an unfortunate situation because at the end of the day, I believe that, especially based on the parents' behavior um, at the trial and what were they trying to intimidate Carmelo's parents? I don't know. You're at court. It's not appropriate. Certain things, whatever. I don't know how they raise them kids. It's unfortunate that boy lost his life. I'm super sensitive to death. I don't think it's right that anybody's out here taking anybody's life. Like, we got to do better. But the way that this will be handled and the outcome and how it will be strategized and everything else that happens alongside of it, yes, his black skin will be a factor. Whether
My thing
people
is,
want it
did
to
he
or
have
not.
anybody testifying on his side? Because I feel like everybody was testifying against him. Did he have anyone on his side saying, yes, he was getting bullied? Yes, they kept harassing him. They probably kept harassing him, and this is why he got the boiling point, and this is what the fuck happened. I'm just saying, did he have anybody on his side?
I remember in the beginning of this, way back in the beginning, there were things being said for different reasons and that there was underlying beef between these two boys.
But
And
if that was the case, my question is, I get that it was raining. Why didn't he just go find another tent? If he was getting bullied that bad, why didn't he just go find another tent?
Because you get pushed to a level, True.
on top of
To
that,
the
bullied or not, like, why should he have to go all the way across the goddamn field in the rain because he's being bullied? He's still a young man. He
I
yeah.
wasn't
wouldn't want to
just
be
supposed to
around those
pussy
people. I
up.
wouldn't want to be somewhere where I'm not welcome.
He just supposed to pussy up and let them have it, right?
But here's another question: how did you know if he wasn't already under that tent already after he went over there and then they went into the tent?
That
Right,
was
just
their
because it was their
designated
tent.
area for the meet. So that was Metcalf's,
That's
like, that's
another
where he was
question
supposed to be.
because there's multiple tents. But there's like multiple tents though. So like if even if he went to either tent, how do you not know if they're already bullying him? How do you not know that they already went, oh, he went into that tent, let's go over there? Like how would you? That's all I'm gonna say. I can't.
That's how I
That's all I'm
know,
gonna say
is
because
that that's where,
there'll be
that was
multiple
the
tents at
assigned
a
area
an
he was
event.
supposed to be at. Metcalf was supposed to be there. It started raining. I get Carmelo went in there to take cover or whatever, or that's, if that's the story. He went in there to take cover. If they are antagonizing him and trying to pick a fight and start something, why didn't he walk away?
But why does he need to move to another? That's another thing though. True. Like I don't think you fucking get it, bro. Like if he was already there, why did they tell them to fucking leave? If they're the bully, like what?
Basically, from everything that I'm
That's my
gathering,
point.
however he ended up in under the tent, Metcalf was the only one who had a problem with him being under there. Metcalf was adamant that he was going to get him from underneath there, and Carmelo Anthony was adamant he wasn't getting out from underneath the tent. Now, in my heyday, that would have been a good fight. Somebody would have ended up with a black eye. Somebody else would have ended up with a bloody nose. Two people
That
would have got
part.
suspended, and we would have talked about it later.
And back in the
Exactly.
day, we used to fight. And I'm not condoning fighting, okay? Because no. But back in the day, yes. You are very much right, MonTeesMama. Back in the day, that would have
At
been.
110%.
But
And that's how it should have gone down.
So it says this, like, if you just Google what's going on, it says the fatal encounter happened at the stadium in Frisco during a high school track meet. The dispute: Anthony, then 17, sat under a pop-up tent belonging to Metcalf's high school team. Metcalf asked him to move multiple times, which escalated into a physical altercation. It didn't say the coach asked him to move. It didn't say there was designated tents. It just said that pop-up tent, mind you. This ain't even no permanent fucking structure. Just a pop-up bring along as you go tent somewhere, an umbrella. Because he stood under his umbrella. The coach didn't ask him to leave. Referees didn't ask him to leave. Carmelo Anthony's own coach didn't tell him he didn't have no business being over there. Like, there were probably a lot of other adults at this track and field
Yeah,
shit.
because can someone clarify, or did they go to the same school, or was it opposing teams?
They're opposing teams, I guess. It's a track meet, so it was at the Kui Kindle Stadium. One of them went to Frisco Memorial, and one of them went to a different Frisco. It says it escalated into a physical altercation. Anthony pulled the pokey and fatally stabbed Metcalf in the chest. Current trial status. The argument: under Texas law, 17-year-olds are treated as adults in the justice system. Anthony's defense argues that he acted in a split second of fear and chaos in self-defense. Prosecutors counter that he was the aggressor and fled the scene afterwards. Anthony was indicted for first-degree murder and faces a possible sentence ranging from 5 years to life in prison if convicted. The case sparked intense national attention and social media debate due to the racial backgrounds of the teens and public protests. The defense has finally rested. This is just what he's claimed self-defense. Closing arguments in the case are slated for this morning. After that, the jury will make deliberations. District Judge John Roach has ordered the jury to be sequestered from outside world at a hotel with no access to television or phones. The past few days of testimony were often emotional as prosecutors played 911 calls and showed videos of the altercation and the aftermath, as well as graphic photos of Metcalf and his wounds. Family members of both Metcalf and Anthony were in the courtroom. The defense is focused on inconsistencies in some witnesses' testimonies. Metcalf's attorneys have downplayed race as an issue in the case. Anthony is black and Metcalf is white. Both were student athletes at crosstown rival schools with high grade point averages. But race has been an issue on social media and protests outside the courthouse, and after no black jurors were selected for trial.
I don't like that they're making it seem like they intentionally didn't put any black people on the trial. There was black people on the trial, and the three of them were found that they could not be unbiased.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of the white people couldn't be unbiased too, true. A string of witnesses, largely classmates and teammates of Metcalf, gave accounts during the trial. Their testimony depicted a rainy day dispute after Anthony, an athlete at Centennial High School in Frisco, sat underneath the tent of Memorial High School where Metcalf was a student and athlete. Anthony's track coach testified over the weekend that his team didn't bring its own tent to the track meet. His team didn't. So Anthony's coach, Carmelo Anthony's coach, testified that they didn't bring a tent to the track meet.
Okay.
An athletic facility that serves all of Frisco's school district. Most prosecution witnesses said Anthony was the aggressor in the fight that preceded the stabbing, but there was conflicting details in their testimony. While some said Metcalf gave a hard two-handed push to Anthony before the poking, others said it was one-handed, a jab or a tap. But Anthony definitely put his hands on him. The witnesses said things got heated when Metcalf or others ordered Anthony out of the tent, but they disagreed on whether Metcalf was joined by others, including his twin brother, in trying to get Anthony to leave. So now testimony is saying, so there knocks your whole, it was 5 people true. Apparently now in court, the testimony is conflicting whether or not his twin brother and others helped make Anthony leave. Anthony knew one of the athletes in the tent, 18-year-old Edwin Parra, whom prosecutors called the common denominator between Anthony and Memorial High School. So that's how he ended up in the tent. His friend Edwin Parra was over there.
Okay.
Although Parra tried
That's okay. I don't mind being proven wrong too.
Although Parra tried to distance himself from Anthony in his testimony Saturday, defense attorneys showed photos of him with Anthony at family gatherings, as well as text and other social media messaging between the two. Which sounds to me like Metcalf's family had gotten to Parra to sway his testimony. Yes, this sounds ugly as fuck. Roach, the judge, issued a court order prohibiting using the names of any witnesses who were minors. In Monday testimony, a 17-year-old teammate of Anthony said that his team had sought refuge from the rain under the field's baseball dugout, but soon was ordered to leave by a baseball coach. The rain stopped briefly, but when it restarted, Anthony headed to the memorial tent. The witnesses, a Centennial High School rising senior, testified. So they tried to go to the dugout first. They tried to get cover from the rain in other places before they went to the only tent that was available because their team didn't bring a tent. The witnesses said he was on the field testing his spike track shoes, then when yelling suddenly broke out, catching the teen's attention. When I looked up, I heard a sound like yelling, but louder voices than usual. And when I looked over, people were looking back, and so it caught my attention at that point, he said. The commotion worried him enough that he told police his friend might need help. After slowly walking closer, he saw a push between people and arms and elbows flailing, louder yelling, and more people standing. He said he thought someone had been stung by a bee, causing the chaos. When he next saw Anthony, he was crying and a coach was holding him and comforting him, he said. The witness said he overheard Anthony say, "I told him not to touch me." So this boy walked off crying, right?
So it's manslaughter.
Earlier in the trial, other witnesses had said Anthony made similar warnings to Metcalf before things escalated. Under prosecutors' questioning, the witnesses agreed that his previous belief that Anthony was surrounded when the poking happened was incorrect. That narrative has been circulated on social media. But on cross-examination, the teen also agreed that people were sitting all around Anthony under the tent. He also acknowledged when he was re-questioned by defense that he did not see a large part of what happened and not know whether Anthony's actions were justified. Prosecutors tried to show Anthony should have been warming up with his teammates and could have stood under the bleachers when it began raining. State Prosecutor Bill Werski underscored that when the Centennial coach told team members to leave the track because of the rain, they followed his instructions. "Someone asked you to leave, you leave, right?" "Yes, sir," the teen's witness responded. Earlier, a 17-year-old Frisco high school student also entering his senior year track and field athletes tend to be more social, and it's not uncommon for students to enter other teams' tents. After that, witness said he did not recall seeing someone pushed or hit. Defense attorney Mike Howard noted that the witness had said in a statement to police after the poking that the kid that got hit does a swing-like motion. The teen witness agreed he made that statement, but said on Monday he couldn't remember whether it happened. Whoa. Before releasing jurors for the evening, Roach admonished them not to discuss the case outside of deliberations and warned them not to look up anything online, including social media, because they don't know anything. The judge said the charge to the jury, instructions on the charges, legal questions to answer, and burden of proof needed to reach the verdict will be long and will be given Tuesday morning. So
we just gotta wait and see what happens. I mean, I'm glad we brought this story and are talking about it. And I mean, again, I'm with, we all have different opinions. We all have different thoughts about it or how you feel about it. And I get it. Like, we all can't just have the same opinion, but like, it's just a hard topic for most people. And it's one of those topics that gets heated all the time.
Like, why Metcalf wanted him out of the tent. They say that it's common for teams to go under other teams' tents. So I'm guessing that Metcalf was the big man on campus over there, and it was his tent. It was his team and his tent, and get out of my tent. And I'm going to make you get out of my tent. And because Carmelo Anthony didn't,
because there goes the bully argument too. That's what I was thinking about, is like, if they went to different schools, I mean, we've seen that cyberbullying can be a thing, but like, they went to different schools. They were only seeing each other. So was it like a rivalry between the teams?
Whether you go to different schools or not, true. Like, there are, in my community, in my area, there are three like big high schools. And just because those kids go to different high schools doesn't mean they don't know each other. There's 3 big high schools that serve this community. And the kids from all those high schools still intertwine in things. It's not, I mean, just because they live in different areas, the city ain't that damn big. And just like the city of Chicago, there's all kinds of high schools and academies. And I might go to an academy and you live next door to me and you go to this high school, and 2 doors down, they go to a different high school, right? We could all go to different schools and live on the same block.
That's what I said, Liza. And see that what Liza's saying, that's where I think they're gonna try and bring the premeditated in, because that's, like I said, I use castle law as an example of why I don't make
threats or comments of what's going to happen if someone shows up to my house, because that can be deemed premeditation and it can take away your self-defense claim. He dared him to touch him, and that takes a huge amount of that his case away from him. He'll probably get manslaughter. You're right. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it sounds like at this point. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to ask is, do we know how many times he was poked? Because that's also going to factor into it.
I'm just saying though, and this just goes across the board. So if someone, and because Liza said it, so just because you dare somebody to do something, are you required to do it? Yes or no? If someone said, I dare you to jump off that bridge, are you going to do it? Or are you going, or
That's
to show
not
that you're
what
not,
she's
wait,
saying.
I'm not done. Are you going to do it because you're not going to show yourself that you're a pussy, or you're not going to do it? Because this just because teenagers do what teenagers do. We were all teenagers not too long ago. I tell this to Anthony all the time. I was 14 not too long ago. It may seem long ago, but it was not that long ago. So well, he dared him. Okay, well, if I tell you don't fucking touch me, I said don't fucking touch me.
It says
Not that he dared
I'm
him.
just
It
saying
shows
though, like,
intent. It shows
among the most striking
Carmelo's
evidence.
intent.
it
Austin
doesn't.
was stabbed.
At the end of the day, even if he didn't even have the knife, and the boy still swung on him, he told
Austin
him,
was
"Please don't
stabbed through
touch
the
me."
heart. He was stabbed through the heart. The pokey leaving a gaping 2-inch stab wound.
But at the end of this
So it
day,
was
these
one
these
time.
kids these days don't know how to fight. They just grab stuff and go. But at the end of the day, if someone just dare you to do something, you gonna do it? You like that daring somebody's like you're following after others. Well, they dared so and so you gotta do it too.
And what me and Liza are saying is that in a court of law, that is considered intent. If this person touches me, I've now said that if they touch me, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and it shows intent, which can bring it to first degree. That's what the
But
dare
either
was.
way,
It's
I
not
mean, yeah,
just
it may
about
become manslaughter, it may
whether
become that
Austin
and this and
followed
that,
through.
but at the end of the day, if the young man needed to protect himself because that kid was bullying him throughout the process of his lifetime, whether it was in high school, middle school, or whatever, and there was ongoing issues, things are bound to happen.
So yeah, this is
Not,
the
I
part that's
just
probably
the
gonna
logic.
hurt Carmelo Anthony as far as just getting self-defense. When the police got him, he said he put his hands on me. Then, when a school officer referred to Carmelo as the alleged suspect, Carmelo allegedly responded, "I'm not alleged. I did it. He put his hands on me. I told him not to." So, yeah.
And that can be deemed intent.
But also, I would say that anything he said at that time was under duress. He had just been involved in, a fatal poking. So he was clearly under duress. I've seen Ray. I'm not sure if the pokey is really what's going to get him because it says that apparently, like, pokies are legal there. And somebody mentioned that if they did a shakedown and, like, got all the kids from the school's pockets, that Carmelo Anthony wouldn't have been the only kid at that school with a pokey, that school has confiscated hundreds of them. I guess down in Texas,
Confiscated, though, you
a little
still can't
pocket
have
pokey
them.
is the thing.
Yeah, it's totally normal. It's like back in the day, people used to have their pew-pews hang in the back of their truck in the school parking lot.
But I also think, like, down in Texas, it's more of a thing. Like, I don't know, Texas just does shit different. You're down there in the country, they wear cowboy boots and put pocket pokies in their pocket. I think
Me and my sister have talked about this a lot because she lives in Houston or just outside of Houston.
That's a southern thing. Like, a pocket pokey is like a boy's rite of passage. They get them when they're like 10 and shit. Their first
Absolutely.
pocket pokey.
But you still can't bring them to school.
But I'm sure I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure they do, but you still can't bring him to school, and that's what's going to get him.
They're not supposed to be bringing their phones to school neither, and they do that. I mean, if we're talking about what the rules are, our kids aren't supposed to be texting during class neither, and they sure the fuck are doing that. And then parents will be upset if you don't, like some parents will argue, well, if my kid can't have their phone at school, then I don't want them at school because I need to be able to get in contact with my kid. So it's like, again, people pick and choose what rules, pick and choose what people, pick and choose what color of what skin is good for what day. You know, it's always something.
Unfortunately,
right?
the thing is that, I mean, I don't think you could, but no one's getting unalived with a cell phone. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the circumstances are that.
Hey, but that lady with no hand got a ticket for driving with a cell phone that she didn't have. It was her nub. But she wasn't black either. But I'm just saying.
Why she gotta be black?
We were talking about all of the things. I'm sure if she had been a black woman, it would have been more of a problem, though. I can't believe they're still trying to have her come to court for that. Like, she showed up to court with the nub, and they still gave her like the continuance to plead not guilty.
It got taken out, thrown out.
I am so glad. We can make a spoon a weapon. I'm trying to say anything can be. Especially criminal mentality ass people. They'll make a damn toothbrush.
There was a child that was expelled and criminally charged at school for having a plastic butter knife to peel his orange with. It was deemed a weapon. He was criminally charged. For peeling his orange at school for having a plastic butter knife.
7 minutes ago, Dallas News updated and posted an article and says jurors began weighing murder charges Tuesday against Carmelo Anthony, who's accused of killing a teenager last year at a Frisco track meet. They began deliberating after closing arguments from prosecutors and attorneys for Anthony, who said he was defending himself when he stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Anthony was also 17 at the time. The 12-member jury can also consider a lesser charge of manslaughter, State District Judge Roach Jr. said Tuesday. The case has drawn national attention from the start and generated a flood of misinformation and racist vitriol on social media. Anthony is black, Metcalf was white. Journalists from the Dallas Morning News will provide live updates throughout the day from the Collin County Courthouse. The crowd grows outside the courthouse is growing as jury deliberates inside. Television crews set up equipment as others bowed their heads in prayer circles and found shade beneath trees. The case has ignited sharp divisions and drawn demonstrators on both sides since the trial began June 1st. I just felt that we all need a little bit more prayer, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more clarity, and a little bit more love. A lot bit more fucking love. Jasmine Noel, I'm with you, girlfriend, who wore a traditional African dress and draped herself in an American flag. State's closing argument. During the state's closing argument, Assistant District Bill Werski disputed the defense claims and asked jurors to focus in part on Anthony's apparent mindset when he decided to bring a knife to a track meet. Werski said Anthony's decision to bring the knife, his refusal to leave the tent, the surveillance footage, and the witness's testimony were enough for a murder conviction. He argued Anthony provoked Austin Metcalf into pushing him, a finding that, if jurors agree, would bar Anthony from claiming self-defense under the jury charge. You don't get to meet a shove with a stab, especially if you provoke the shove, Werski told jurors. Werski also acknowledged inconsistencies in students' earlier testimony, saying such discrepancies are common in trials, but he argued that those differences were ultimately inconsequential because the witnesses were aligned on one key point: Anthony was not acting in self-defense. Werski dismissed the defense attorney's theory that Metcalf impaled himself on Anthony's pokey as ludicrous, but urged jurors to return a verdict of manslaughter if they believed it had merit. When the state finished, jurors were directed out of the courtroom to begin deliberating. Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's father, kept his head down for much of the defense's closing arguments, but lifted his eyes towards the state's closing. Jurors consider manslaughter. Jurors can consider manslaughter in addition to the the murder charge against Carmelo Anthony, District John Roach Jr. said Tuesday as he read the instructions. If convicted of murder, Anthony could face 5 years to life in prison, but manslaughter, a lesser charge, carries a sentence of 2 to 20 years. Closing arguments have wrapped up, with each side allotted 35 minutes to make their final case. Collin County District Bill Werski waived the state's right to go first. Anthony's lead defense attorney, Mike Howard, began his closing argument by challenging the state's portrayal of the case, arguing that Austin Metcalf did not have the legal authority to put his hands on Anthony. A hit, a shove, a push, Howard told jurors Mello had an absolute right to defend himself from that. Howard revisited the Collin County medical examiner's testimony in closing. He used a highlighter to demonstrate the possible angle of the knife wound on Metcalf, describing it as awkward. He argued that an intentional aggressive poking motion would have produced a different wound, suggesting that instead the wound was consistent with a hasty action taken in self-defense. Anthony supporters at courthouse. Supporters of Carmelo brought 3 large wooden signs, each about 4 feet long and 2 feet tall, to the courthouse using drills to fasten the sign to yardsticks. They propped up the signs to stand in the protest area. One of the signs read, "United we stand, divided we fall." Another said, "Self-defense is not a crime. Carmelo Anthony should do no time." The third read, "Hands off Carmelo Anthony. Let the truth be heard." Free hugs and prayers. Shortly before 9 a.m., Lorenzo Henry stood outside the courthouse and raised a horn to his lips, blowing into it a distinct note through the curved mouthpiece directly towards the courthouse. It's like bringing a doorbell to heaven, basically calling the armies of God, the angels, Henry said. The horn sound, "Let them gather up around this place because that's what we need right now." I know that's right, Henry. Henry, a pastor at Kingdom Application Ministries in McKinney, has stood outside of the courthouse every Thursday for 6 months. He stood there for several days of the Carmelo Anthony trial, which began June 1st, praying for both the Metcalf and Anthony families. "For the Metcalf family, my heart goes out to them," Henry said. "Also for the Anthony family, my heart goes out to them because they've been going through this for a year, waiting on this to happen, and now they're looking at losing their son in the process." His arms raised above his head, Henry swayed to gospel music flowing from a speaker, which was next to a sign that read, "Free hugs and prayers." "No one should be losing children at such a young age, being dead or in the system," Henry said. "Nothing good can come from this that I see except God do something about it. And so we're going to let God be God and just pray that he intervenes. And he's never done before." Outside of the courthouse, a handful of Carmelo Anthony supporters, all dressed in purple, gathered beneath blue tents Tuesday morning outside the courthouse in McKinney. Hand-drawn signs decorated with colorful handprints and hearts lined the entryway. Other signs read, "Hands off" and "Self-defense is not a crime." Closing arguments are slated to begin shortly. These give prosecutors and defense attorneys a final chance to summarize the evidence and tell jurors how they believe it should be interpreted. Their remarks are not evidence, but they can shape how jurors weigh testimony, exhibits, and the legal instructions before deliberations begin. Here's a look back at the high-profile trial for those catching up. It began June 1st with 600 Collin County residents called to jury duty. For comparison, that's twice the number of people who were summoned for Tanner Horner death penalty case in Tarrant County, which also received substantial publicity. State District Judge John Roach pared down the pool to 12-person jury on June 3rd. Defense attorneys accused prosecutors of striking 3 black jurors, the only 3 black candidates left in the jury pool, without proper cause. Prosecutors are required to provide a race-neutral reason for striking the jurors, and they said it was because all 3 were educators. The judge sided with prosecutors. Both sides laid out their cases during opening arguments June 4th. Prosecutors argued Anthony provoked the confrontation, seizing on brief physical contact as an excuse to commit murder. Anthony's defense attorneys argued he made a split-second decision in the face of a threat from teenagers larger than him, an act they say amounted to self-defense. Witnesses, many of whom are minors, have described the conflict that led to the poking and chaotic aftermath. Jurors got their first glimpse of the pocket pokey prosecutors say Anthony used to fatally stab Austin. 4 students called by the state who saw the confrontation differed on some details, but all agreed at one point Anthony was the aggressor. The prosecution rested its case Saturday. On Monday, attention turned to defense, which called several witnesses, including Anthony's coach, who said athletes commonly shared tents during track meets. Anthony did not testify in his defense. What happened Monday during the trial, the jury heard testimony from 2 students and a Frisco police officer. A 17-year-old Centennial High student called to testify Monday didn't witness the stabbing itself, but said he later saw Anthony crying on the track while being comforted by a coach. During direct examination by lead defense attorney Mike Howard, the student told jurors he was warming up on the field when he noticed a shift in demeanor among the athletes gathered under Frisco Memorial's tent. He testified he saw what appeared to be a shove, describing a boy later identified as Metcalf, extending both arms and making contact with Anthony. Prosecutors challenged the narrative during cross-examination using surveillance video to demonstrate that parts of his recollection didn't match the timeline captured on camera. Another Frisco student, 17, testified that he saw several people standing around Metcalf and Anthony when the altercation occurred. All of a sudden, I saw someone get pushed or punched, he told lead defense attorney Mike Howard on the stand, adding that he saw the student was struck make a swinging motion with his arm. During cross-examination, prosecutor again challenged the recollection, citing video evidence which he said showed a different version of events than the student previously said in his police statement. After the students testified, Frisco Police Officer Bo Riley was briefly questioned. Defense attorneys appeared to suggest that a student under Frisco Memorial's tent may have recorded part of the altercation between Metcalf and Anthony, but the line of questioning ended without establishing whether any such video exists. Ain't that about a bitch? Oh, that part wasn't in the article, my bad. That part was just me. Like, why wouldn't we be getting the video? Anyways, Judge Roach then excused the jury for an early lunch break. Court was expected to resume at 12:30, though it remained closed to the public and media until about 2:20. Once court resumed, Roach said closing arguments would begin at 9 a.m. Tuesday and that they would allow the jury to deliberate as long as they want. If the jurors call it a day without reaching a decision, they will be sequestered in a hotel without their phones until they return to the courthouse, he said. We're getting close, I'm telling you, Roach told jurors before dismissing shortly before 2:30 p.m. Why death penalty is not a possibility. On social media, some have called for Anthony to receive the death penalty. That's not on the table, though here's why. Anthony, like Austin Metcalf, was 17 at the time of the poking. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 2005 that executing anyone for a crime committed while under the age of 18 constitutes cruel and unusual punishment, making Anthony ineligible for a death sentence under federal law. If convicted, Anthony faces 5 years to life in prison. Is Carmelo Anthony trial televised? Impose strict rules for the trial, including banning cameras from the courtroom. Collin County Courthouse rules also prohibit cameras, so it won't be televised. In a court order, Roach said that the case has generated substantial public and media attention and that unrestricted access or activity may compromise courtroom security, juror privacy, and the defendant's right to fair trial. Other rules in place according to the order. Attendees must remain silent and respectful in the courtroom. Gestures, facial expressions, or other reactions to testimony are not permitted. Clothing or other items displaying messages, logos, symbols, or images related to the case that are considered to be distracting are prohibited. Signs, banners, or other materials are not allowed in the courthouse. And they've got several people who are reporting live from outside of the courthouse, I'm guessing. So there's that. That's the most recent update on the case in the Dallas Sun. What is that I said?
It sounds like he's going to get manslaughter.
And that was 7 minutes ago.
That would be probably be the most appropriate choice to go.
I mean, I think the bigger thing is that as mothers, as a community, as people, we have our children in school settings where they don't feel safe. We have our children in situations where they're being bullied or this type of shit is happening. People are carrying knives to school. I would hate to think it, but like, shit, we know Trudy Booty, your daughter has complained about being bullying. Like, what if one of them girls were to poke her? Like, that is not
Actually, I'm gonna be completely honest. My husband called me yesterday because there was a note found in a window of my daughter's school about a weapon,
See what I'm
A
saying?
child potentially having a weapon, and he instantly was ready to pull Aislinn out of school because he was scared it was those girls. They're little fucking psychopaths.
We shouldn't be
It
living
wasn't.
in a world like this. Like, this shouldn't be what anybody's children are facing going to school. Being bullied to the point where protecting their life consists of having to lose their life in a penitentiary. Like, Carmelo Anthony is a very young man, very high grade point average. He's very smart, right? He's an athlete. His prison is not going to be okay for him. He's a very young man. That the years of his life, these formative years that are going to make him or break him, he will be in a fucking cage. He will not come out the same young man he went in, rest assured. And of course, Metcalf will not breathe another, it's not it's fucked up. And it's based on, racism, bullying, all of the evil, vile things that are happening in this world that nobody's put a stop to. If anything, the fires are being fueled more and more by, well, mental health is real. Okay, understandable, but that doesn't give an excuse to do people the way people are getting done. I'm with Pastor Henry. We need a lot more love. He over there handing out free hugs and prayers and shit. What else do you do? This is why I talk to my boys, even if Kai is 7. I talk to him. I know that's right, Arlita. You have to. And that's why I said in a live that was chopped and screwed that I tell my children, I need people to love you the way I love you. Because when they stop loving you how I do, then it's going to be a fucking problem. So clearly, Metcalf didn't love Carmelo Anthony the way I do. You know what I'm saying? The way his parents do. Right? And I'm not saying the kids got to go to school and love each other, but when we have shit happening in schools that's getting to this extent, and the mass schmurders and school pew-pewings, and our children are not fucking safe. And I don't like it. I don't like that this young man was put in this predicament. I don't like that anybody's entitlement that, he can't stand under our tent. Should he have had a pokey at school? Probably not. Like, if everything's bigger in Texas, the damn metal detector should be too. Hell, our kids can't get into school with
The
those type
reason
of
it didn't
equipment.
get through a metal detector is because it was an outdoor sporting event off campus, but it was still a school event, so they still weren't allowed to have weapons on property.
Oh, well, there's that part. I guess you can't have a metal detector on the track field, and I don't know. I don't fucking know. I guess when it's time to start putting metal detectors on the track field, like, we really need to start looking at what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be manslaughter. The reality is that had Anthony not had a knife, and it would have been a fist fight, someone would have gotten their ass beat, but they would have lived another day. And unfortunately, that's not how it went down.
After yesterday with Mr. Chow, I just feel like if Mr. Chow can get fucking self-defense, Carmelo Anthony should be able to get that same self-defense. That's all.
I agree that
Anthony didn't
Mr.
chase
Chow
him
should not
100
have gotten
yards.
off with self-defense. That's crazy. That's absolutely fucking crazy.
Carmelo Anthony has unalive 2 other people.
Yeah, that I wholeheartedly agree that he shouldn't have gotten off on that, and I think that the only reason he did was the same thing.
That's where the Black communities, the systematic aspect is so blatant that they have no choice but to acknowledge it. It's not a victim mentality. It's an acknowledgement of how blatant it fucking actually is.
I could argue that what they're asking for with all of the with what happened with Chow, and that they felt like no justice was done. It's like the same thing, like they said, like I was talking about with the Menendez brothers, how this celebrity had just gotten away with unaliving someone, and they wanted to make an example of them. People are really looking at this case with a lot of scrutiny now because Chow just got away with doing something terrible that he shouldn't have gotten away with. Does that make Anthony any less guilty? No.
I'm not really sure if it makes him less guilt. Like, I don't know. I would like to see the awkward knife, whatever. Did dude go to hit him and caught the pokey? I mean, dude thought he was Billy Badass? I'm not sure. I think there's a lot more there than just an altercation at a track meet one day. Like, obviously, there was an issue if Carmelo felt he had to have protection for himself at a track meet, right? And then I just don't understand why our kids don't talk to us. Like, why he didn't tell his parents that this wasn't, somebody. Tell somebody. Say something.
How often does my daughter tell me that when she's being bullied? How often am I calling the school?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, were his parents unaware? Like, were his parents unavailable? I don't know. If Treasure were to tell me she's going to a track meet of a other school with a girl who doesn't like her that wants to beat her up or something, like, I'm going to be in the stands, right? Like, I'm going to be present. Like, what's going on? What's up? Did his parents know that there was, I don't know.
But I gotta say something though, because earlier you were just saying that so he should have walked out of the tent like a pussy.
No, he shouldn't have walked out the tent like a pussy. I wouldn't have told Treasure to bow down to some bitches who are gonna. No, I would have been there. We wouldn't have been bowing down. I guess I'd have been going to jail with my daughter at that point. The fuck? I mean, right. I also wouldn't have had a knife though. I don't know.
You've also told me that I need to step back and let Aislinn handle her own shit too.
You do? I mean, to a certain degree, absolutely. Because you're not always going to be there to call somebody and fix it for her. And see, I don't know. I'm from a different generation than you guys. And in my generation, like, we figured it the fuck out. Did we get bullied? Yeah, we got bullied. And either you fucking bloodied somebody's nose and kept it moving, or you stayed the fuck out them areas because you didn't want to catch a bloody nose every time type shit. Like, shit worked itself out without, I don't know. Nobody's parents was around. They sent us outside and told us don't come back in type shit. We didn't have parents to intervene on our behalf. And we figured it the fuck out, and we learned social skills, and we learned how to negotiate. We learned how to make shit happen. And now we live in a society where these kids don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to compromise. They don't know how to do any of the things in order to socially be intact with one another. The sensitivity of these new generations, and bullying happened. Is everybody gonna be nice? No. I like that they're teaching children to be nicer. I like that Treasure's in junior high school and she doesn't bully nobody, they don't talk bad about each other. They're just cute little girls that do cute little girl things. Like, I look at it, this is strange, because in junior high, when I was in junior high, Lord have mercy, them girls were vicious. So I like that all these years later that our little girls in junior high aren't as vicious as they were in my generation, because man, were they vicious. And unfortunately, Liza, people not present in their kids' lives because the economy is forcing parents to work ridiculously just to survive. The baby's coming up now. We're self-aware. Parents are barely attentive to their kids when they are there. I mean, a lot of the parents that are raising children right now don't even love themselves, right? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened to the generation before them. Things used to get really violent at rival sports meetings where I'm from. I mean, I don't recall. I mean, we had regular fights. I don't know. Like, pew pew play was more of my later teenagehood. Pew pew play wasn't really part of my junior high school experience. People didn't start playing with pew pews until I got to be like 16, 17. That's like my first death of a friend, first funeral around 16. Late 2000 babies are doing the most. Regular fights like a man or woman. I mean, the fights, yeah, people were definitely putting their dukes up. There was always like a cafeteria fight or, a lot of people back then, like that was the thing. I don't know. I was different. My parents would get on my ass. So if we were gonna throw hands, it was gonna be after school, off school grounds. Like I didn't have no problem doing it, but I wasn't fixing to get in trouble at school for it type thing. Like I always had that. My parents were on my ass. If I got in trouble at school, it was gonna be a problem, right? So any altercation with anybody at school, I wasn't gonna take the chance on taking an ass whooping at school and taking an ass whooping at home. Like that sounds dumb. So I'd always be like, okay, off school grounds, after school, woo woo. But a lot of those kids, like the lunchroom fights, those were like the best. Like, oh, it's gonna be a fight in the lunchroom today, woo woo woo. You had to be in the lunchroom to catch that. I don't know. That was our toxicity. Our toxicity wasn't scrolling the internet, making fake pages, gang stalking people. We were in the lunchroom, fifth period type shit. Or after school on the bleachers, football. They're gonna be in the football field, down in the other hallway, wherever the fuck. The whole school knew about it. Am I like the only one? Too old for y'all? Didn't do that in y'all schools? Well, clearly. No, people bring
That
fucking.
shit was always so corny to me. You're gonna fight someone, pop them in the mouth right there. Do it right there and take care of business. Don't plan that shit. The fuck?
I always felt like those were, man, those were the attention seeking ones, but those were the ones that used to be the best ones because they done got the whole school involved. So now they gotta show out. You can't tell the whole school you fixing to do this, that, and the third to Tommy in fifth period and show up and not rock Tommy. You feel me? You're gonna look really dumb because the whole school showed up. We all heard about it and we all brought snacks. Oh yeah, they're trying to get on World Star. That was back. Yep, I remember all y'all World Star days. Y'all silly as fuck for that. World Star. Meet me at the park after school. Absolutely, Abs. Meet me over here. Let's get it. Then got put out to school. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's so corny to me. Even in like movies and stuff, when you see that shit, it's so corny.
Then they get suspended for 3 days. Oh, you know what? I just lied to y'all. And what was her name? Rochelle, maybe? I don't remember her last name. I was friends with this girl in 8th grade, but she didn't live in our town. Like, they brought another town. I think she lived in like Wheaton or some shit. I don't remember. But she didn't live in my neighborhood. She rode the bus. I met her in junior high. She didn't go to my grade school. And wherever she lived at, she had gotten shot. She had gotten pew-pewed in 8th grade. Like an accident or whatever. And it had gone through like her, like she had her leg up on the wall or whatever. So it went through like her shin, through and through her shin of her leg and then into her thigh. Like, because the way like if you were standing with your back on the wall and then you pull your one leg up where your foot's on the wall and it's like a angle or whatever. Yeah, it went through like her shin, through and through up into her other leg, into her thigh. I was suspended for fighting like 6 times in junior and senior year. You're so bad, Katarina. There's another girl in junior high.
Bullied the bullies. I got suspended for slamming some little girl's head in a locker because she took my friend's stuff and threw it in a nasty ass trash can. And then one of her little friends
I stayed shaking them girls in junior high.
Some other girl tried to call my dad something inappropriate, but I can't say on here, and I knocked her down four stairs off of us.
The unfortunate part is that, like, both of these boys in this scenario with Carmelo Anthony is, you know, a very educated, you know, high standing student, a student athlete at that. And anybody who's ever played sports in school and been a student athlete, like, to keep a great GPA while participating in an athletics is amazing. And apparently Metcalf was, you know, a good student and a good student athlete as well. So it's not like these boys were from, you know, the hood or had bad past or gang banging or any of the things. They were decent kids or whatever, bullies, whatever. But, you know, this other girl wanted to fight me in high school. It was like a movie. We ran at each other from opposite sides of the park. So many people there. Abby, I love you down so bad. Why I can just see this. Your little itty bitty blonde hair self, no bigger than a fucking, oh goodness gracious.
See, it got ruined for me because when she said ran at each other from other sides of the park, I just imagined everyone Naruto running.
Right, like we Lord have mercy. Final thoughts. Racism is still very much real. In any instance, no matter what the fucking plot is, we can't take race out of it. I think that we still have so far to go. Even having the discussion on the topic kind of hurts my feelings because from experience and the things that I have grown up with, around, and been subjected to, I'm very much aware of how our Black community is treated so much differently. And while certain instances, you know, he poked somebody, he's not going to just get off. I understand. But the picture that they will try to paint of him and the fact that, you know, systematically this shit has been so upside down for so fucking long, the Black community immediately sees it like as soon as it happens. And it causes division, and it causes division amongst people and in friend groups, and it's not cool. And I'm still with Pastor Henry. We need so much more love in this world, so much more, you know, understanding, and so much more, you know, knowledge to what it truly the fuck is. Like, United States of America, my ass. We ain't united on a goddamn thing around this bitch. But that's just my personal opinion on the theory and thoughts. I love that we can have controversial conversations and topics and, you know, be respectful and respectable of each other. I think we have to understand we're all painted different ways, and it's not a problem, Desiree. I love you down super bad. We've all come from different backgrounds. We all have different stories. You know, respect goes a long fucking way in everything, even in this situation with Carmelo Anthony. Had there been respect with Metcalf not trying to take over a tent, you know what I'm saying? And track and field is a funny sport anyways. And if his coach didn't bring a tent and it's raining and they were trying to not go over there and stay in the dugout and then they got directed out of there, like, I'm not sure what else they were supposed to do. I wasn't there. You know, a lot of times if you're not there in the moment, you really can't have a fucking opinion. I like to try to put myself in both sides of this story. Like, what if it was my son who, you know, felt that he was being threatened in a way and had to defend himself? Or what if it was my son who's in the ground? I can definitely relate to that, right? Thankfully, Monty didn't die at the hands of somebody else, because if that was the case, none of us would have ever met, rest assured. I mean, he died at the hands of somebody else's mistake in a different way, but not anything like this, right? Because, you know, there's that part. And I think when we discuss these types of topics, like you have to put yourself on both sides of the fence and the shoe outside of color, right? Our son could have been on either side of this fence. And what do we do better to keep our children from being on either side of these fences? Because I don't want my children ever to feel so threatened at school or threatened at a school event that they react like this. Nor do I want my child to be a bully. And, you know, let's be reasonable. We still are self-preserving, self-focused, and we can also empathize with others and care for one another. Absolutely. Yes, Liza. Thank you for finding me on this World Wide Web. And Abs and all of the people, obviously, Arlita and True and Desiree. I don't know who else is in here, but y'all have some amazing fucking hearts. You guys are amazing fucking people, right? I'm sensitive to death. I'm sensitive to the struggles of our Black community because I'm very much aware that I'm raising Black children. I'm not married to anybody, so I can't say I'm married to a Black man, but I fight the struggles of the community in which I live in, which is majority Black and brown. I wish there was a day where we all could be treated the same and, you know, the color of your skin didn't have but that's not the case. You know, even our indigenous folks and our Indian folks on reservations, they have discriminatory shit against them on a regular basis, and things are happening. We were talking the other day about women coming up missing off reservations, and that shit's just swept under the rug, and it's not even, you know, investigated or looked in. There's so much heinous shit that's happening on this place called Earth. Hey, just smile for me. It's been a very interesting morning, but starts by setting the example. Absolutely, Liza. It starts by setting the example. It starts by loving all people, you know. Love is love is love. And I try to stay away from shit that's not love. Can't ask for what you can't give. That part, Liza. Abso-fucking-lutely. You've been listening for about an hour. Well, thanks for being here. Just smile for me. I appreciate you, darling. Love you down real bad, too. Oh, yeah, because I said, oh, y'all have beautiful hearts and you have your shit blocked. I didn't shout you out. I see. That's why you said you were here. Like, wait a minute, girl. I'm here. You have your settings funny, so you don't show up. You're smart. You're a smart lady. Yeah. No, you ain't got to shout me out. But I love you down bad, and I appreciate you being here, right? Katarina, too. I didn't see her either because she got her settings like that, too. Right, or at least take what you give. If I'm rude, I'm going to take rude from others, too, right? These conversations are super important to have. Absolutely, Abs. And I think sometimes, like, it opens up the discussion for bigger conversations. And, you know, there's problem solving to be done here. Neither one of these children have to be yours to see a problem, to see that our children shouldn't be subjected to going to school and being in fear or, you know, I don't know. There's just too much going on. Too fucking much. I didn't know my settings were different. I'm going to see what I got going on. Girl, don't even go look at it. Just keep it the way it is. I feel like you're safe that way. Shoot. I like that. I mean, I don't think I have my stuff on the incognito setting or whatever. I don't even know how to work this damn app like that. But I think it's cool for the people who do. So yes, we are staying on focus. We are staying consistent, Liza. I've got more. We still didn't put the definitions. We need to go through definitions of exploitation and all these other big words they use around here. Parasocial. We need to have a dictionary day. Consistency is key. Yes, ma'am. I don't pay attention to much on this little stupid ass app. I pay attention to, you know, y'all, but True was trying to show me before, like, how to look at the analytics and stuff and whatever. The other day I pulled up something and It was from like my lives or whatever, and it was how many likes I had. Mind you, we're only at like June 8th or something. It was some big ass number. And then I remember Jolene had said, well, like, the numbers don't matter, but, even shit, the 10 people in the room, if you guys were all in my house right now, right? Well, then I got to thinking about it. Like, all those likes or whatever, or viewers or whatever, like, I think it was like 11,000 viewers or something. And I was like, shit, what would you do if 11,000 people were at your house? Treasure said, be scared. I was like, right? Ain't that the truth? Like, it sounds all good for fucking social media, but if 11,000 people showed up over here, hell, I don't even know where y'all are going to sit. We got like VIP for about half a dozen. No, I'm just, right. I'd be worried. Like, what? What is going on? It's an intervention, isn't it? It's everybody whose life I've ever touched everywhere. Yes, Conspiracy Theory Live. I think we could do that one tomorrow, Abs. Make sure you're in on it. I'll try to start a little earlier, too. I think we have Conspiracy Theory Live. We have the spirituality religion thing. We have scrolling the snark pages. The one major participant with her little can't get white. She's supposed to be on vacation or something, so her page will probably be lame. They haven't posted my lives over there, so yeah, she might be lame to scroll this time. But we might turn scrolling the snark pages into like a weekly thing, only because shit, they scroll me daily. They be all up in my Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor. It's so many irrelevant people out here making videos trying to shout me out. I'm not even giving them the airplay. You're irrelevant. Keep grasping for straws. Love the nickname you made her. I'll message you like an hour before. Yes, Abs, I will. When I get up and get to rolling, I'll let you know. Like, okay, I'm getting it together. And then there was another one. I don't know. Like hot topics, weekly hot topics. Absolutely. I want other topics too. Y'all need to it was a good day. It's a good day to have a good day, Des. And we can always turn shit around, I would prefer to talk through things before everybody just throw their fucking hands in the air and say, fuck it. Like, hold on. Let's pump our brakes a little bit. Let's read a little more facts. Dallas yes, working today is good. Ooh, the Denver airport. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh man, don't even get me started with the Denver airport.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. We're going to make the Denver airport. We're going to have
As someone
nobody
who
got kicked
frequents
out.
that airport, do you want the apple or not? Here.
Nobody was ostracized. Absolutely not. We're at the end of the day, we're all going to love each other down, and we ride together, we die together. Bad girls for life type shit. And
there's
I think
always going to be differing opinions on topics like this. There's always going to be. It's how you hold yourself, and how you manage to, if you can hold yourself with respect for that
I think that I
opposing
love
opinion.
our village, that we can be respectful and we can get angry and we can get frustrated. There was a lot of that today. You were angry and frustrated with us. We were angry. I mean, but we've had these moments before where there's been anger and frustration, but I love the way that we're all able to talk through things. I love the way that you guys respect me when I say, whoa, 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 let's reel ourselves back in. You felt your heart race too, Liza. I mean, these are very controversial topics that were brought to discuss, and I was expecting people to have different opinions, and I just love the love, and I love the fact that our little group, whatever we want to call ourselves over here, ain't no cult, our little village, our little family we got over here, we rock together, and the patience to get through it, and frustration. You want to hear Desiree being good, Desiree being so good, Desiree. But we can learn to regulate through them. We can deal with the real conflicts better. Absolutely. And I think like unity is huge in solving any of these things. There's root issues. I mean, I love the fact that, yesterday's story, the young people are getting out and trying to change, policy and trying to make a difference for the future and, wanting to do something about it. That's the type of energy that needs to come behind these situations. Clearly at this point, we can hope that a manslaughter charge, they're not going to let this boy walk on a self-defense, I don't believe. And not too much of his life is gone. Unfortunately, the other child in question's life is no longer here. And we need to do something to fix that bigger problem, I guess would be my take on it. The bigger problem is, sadly so, but hopefully a short period, I mean, fixing the bigger underlying problem of the hate and the racism and the bullying. And, obviously, our children are a product of us to a certain degree. You didn't mean to, Ray, or you meant to? You were in here liking and got, yeah, okay, just checking. I don't ever want to not let somebody come up and speak their mind. Or even in the chat, yesterday somebody came in the chat saying some real, man, listen, y'all, yesterday was so enlightening for me because I had never even heard that fucking slur a day before in my being. Called one of my besties while I was on live with y'all, like, hold the fuck up. He had never heard that shit a day before in his being. And after I got off live, like, some of my other friends, like, have you ever heard this motherfucking term? Like, we are all going to learn today because fuck you. And the fact that there's just so many more terms and more ways to hate, like, yeah, no, I don't like the way the world is going. And there's power in numbers, y'all. And we didn't all end up over here in the same little circle because we don't look at things and love in a similar type of fashion. So what I need for y'all to do, I love you more, Des, is to keep being who you are, keep shining your light. This little light of mine, y'all are shining bright and living in a way that you're raising your children to be different. You're changing the trajectory of what it is going to be. And there's got to be so many people who are operating, Nails Bailey, I love everyone in this chat, but also holding ground, best defending. Definitely continue to be who you are, continue to shine, continue to, shine that light on your children and put that love into them so that years down the road, we aren't reading these types of stories involving, the people we love the most. That's all I'm saying. And maybe if we all do our part and we all keep going and, we're sprinkling this onto our children who are going to sprinkle it onto their children, it's got to be better, right? So, with that being said, I've made my 2-hour mark. Your girl is going to go and make her day amazing. I hope y'all go make your day as amazing as you are. We're going to keep talking about some hot topics, but I also want to circle back to, let's talk about I'm hangry. You need to go eat, Ray. We need to eat. Definitely. I love you down real bad, girlfriend. Make your day as amazing as you are. And, y'all go be wonderfully great and we'll come back at it. But I'm going to have some lives where let's start doing some, putting together something to fix this shit. Cause I'm tired. I'm tired of the sad news, the bad news. I'm tired of young lives being lost. I'm tired of the system being broken. I'm ready for, what's it called? Just in my skincare, time for bedtime affirmations and sleep. Sweet dreams, abs. I love that you're on a whole different whatever. When you wake up, you make your day as amazing as you are, and we'll catch you. I love y'all. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Bye.